Mr. President, but I want to ask you about black voters, one of your most loyal constituencies.
Yep.
I was in Congressman Clyburn's district yesterday in South Carolina. You opened this news conference talking about him. I spoke to a number of black voters who fought to get you elected, and now they feel as though you are not fighting hard enough for them and their priorities. And they told me they see this push on voting rights more as a last-minute PR push than it is a legitimate effort to get legislation passed.
There's research on this now. African-American voters are dispirited, discouraged. The base of the Democratic Party thinks Joe Biden has let them down. In Georgia in particular, black voters in the key parts of Georgia, there's, again, the Democrats are pulling this stuff. There is erosion, and they don't like that. Not only can they not survive erosion, they can't. Stacey Abrams can't survive erosion down there, and other Democratic candidates. They need to have it at the max in 2022. And without this piece of legislation, I don't think they're going to get it.
They'll lose the Senate and the Congress, Joe. They will not only put Abrams at risk, they're only 50-50 now. They lose one seat, they lose the Senate. There is not only a dispirited feeling in Georgia among blacks, it's all over the country.
Man, where's Trump? Get this motherfucker out of here.
I did more in the 2020 election to actively work for someone's campaign. I did more than I've ever done in my entire life for any candidate whatsoever. And I'm disgusted. I said a year in, I'm disgusted with them both. I'm disgusted with Kamala Harris and Joe Biden.
Because right now you have, voters over 50 that are black. His approval rating is down something like 16 points.
No, all of those things that black people talked about so much during the election, President Biden said he'd have their back. And that is what they're saying. So where are you? We're 9-10 months into your administration. And now you're hearing, and we've been hearing for months, activists and people who get people out to vote saying, you have to give us something to go back to black people and say you did this for them. And that is what they're hoping to see. They haven't seen it. And there's this immense frustration that I think the White House has not really paid as much attention to as
last week. We said President Biden was in desperate need of a reset. His poll numbers are falling, in particular among African Americans. And there's real fear that Democrats' midterm hopes will be sunk by a lack of enthusiasm among the very voters who put Mr. Biden in office. And then just like that, Mr. Biden was thrown a lifeline with the news that Supreme Court Justice Stephen Breyer would indeed retire at the end of this term. President Biden vowed to keep his promise during the campaign that he would appoint an African-American woman to the first court opening he had. That could help with declining black support.
That's a hell of a coincidence.